Hello everybody, in today's video I'm going to be showing you how you can solve the 5x5 Rubik's Cube. So the beginner's method for the 5x5 is called the reduction method. The reduction method is the simplest for beginners in my opinion. Before we start solving, I'll let you know that all of the algorithms are going to be listed down here on the screen below, and all of the algorithms and steps and timestamps will be linked in the description below. If you need to pause the video at any time, just go ahead and feel free. When there's algorithms on the screen, I would highly recommend to screenshot them or jot them down on a piece of paper to help you memorize and learn them, because they are very important. If at any time you are lost or need extra help, just leave me a comment down below and I'll help you out the best I can. So in order to solve the 5x5, you need to know how to solve a 3x3 Rubik's Cube, but if you don't know how to solve a 4x4, that's fine. It will help you if you do, but it's not required. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. Alright, so the first step in solving the 5x5 is to solve these centers. So the first center we're going to solve is the white. So we find that one by locating the middle white sticker. So this is going to be the base of our white center. So what you need to do in 5x5 or any other bigger cube, the way you build the centers isn't just piece by piece, you build it by bars. So what I mean by a bar would look like this. So like this white is the three middle ones make up a bar. So we have the middle bar on a 5x5 and then you have the two outer bars. So the first step is to build the middle bar. So there's the center piece, and then within that 3x3 inner center there are what I call edges, and then the corners. So for the center middle bar, you need two edges. So you'd find them on the cube, and then just rotate them up. And you want them across from each other. So like this, you would disconnect it, rotate it over, and then just move it up to create that middle bar. And then next, after we do that, we're going to solve one of the outer bars. So we see two pieces here. So we could bring this piece down, bring this over, and then bring it back up to match it. And then we see this corner down here, which we know if we move it up here, it'll finish that bar. Whenever you're building bars on any face, you have to be careful when you do those moves that it doesn't disrupt any other piece that you made. So when we made this bar, it did not mess up what we've already built on the white. So now the way we insert it is we rotate the white so that when we bring it up, it just puts it right into that spot. So now all we have to do is build that last bar. So like we see these two and then this edge. So what we can do is we can move this edge up that moved this white, but we can rotate this face, move this piece back down, and now all we have to do is rotate this twice to move it down. So I can't show every case for building the different bars, but I'll just show you the general strategy. So after we solve the first white center, we turn the cube over to the yellow. So it's the same as the white, we build the middle bar. So we already have one piece in here, that's lucky. So we'd find like this one. We get it to be, this is the one we want to put it in. So we rotate this, put the yellow up, and notice this white piece came up when we moved this. So we can rotate it up to finish that bar, rotate the top layer, so that we can bring this white back down to be solved. So we just put that one piece in there. So we have the middle, now we have to get the outer ones. So like this corner, we can bring it down to match it up with this edge. Remember, the white is gonna be messed up, so we'd rotate it over, move that white back up. So now we have two pieces. We see this piece that we can just bring down. Didn't disrupt anything. And then we'd move it up. So then how you insert the yellow outer bars is you would line it vertically, just like we do, and then move it up, rotate the yellow face twice, and then move that left side back down. So that inserted that outer bar onto the yellow. So now we just do that same strategy with the last bar, and if there's any pieces up here and you don't know how to match them up with a piece easily, find a face that does not have any yellow, and then just move it down, turn that face over, and then move that white back up. So that kicked this yellow piece from the top down onto the face, where you can just match it up with the other yellow pieces. So once you have the last yellow bar made, and you have the other one already up here, the way you insert it is not like you could do this, but then you can't get the white back. So what you have to do is have both outer yellow bars on the left, or you can do the right, either one. And then you want to move this yellow piece, that's the yellow bar, up, and kick the other one out. Rotate the yellow side twice, and then move that yellow bar back down. So that's how you solve the yellow and the white center. So you have 4 more left to go. So after you get the white and yellow solved, you would go on to the red. So you find the red centerpiece. And to make it easy, I keep the white center on the left, and then the yellow on the right, and then the red in the front. So this is the one we're gonna solve next. So we do the same strategy. We build the middle red bar. So we see this edge piece, we can bring that one down, look around, and there's one down here. So we rotate it twice, make that. And then once we have this yellow bar, it's best to just rotate it vertically, so that now we can turn the right and left without worrying about messing it up. So we see these two pieces. We can rotate this and match it up. Now we just insert it onto the red face. This piece and this piece. And as you go, you'll figure out tricks to match up the pieces more efficiently and easily. So like this in the middle, if we rotate this over here, we can just rotate it twice and it'll match it up with these two pieces. But now we have to bring this up to the white, or the red, sorry, and then this red up. So just play around with building the red centerpiece by doing the middle and then the outer bars, just like you did on the other ones. Next, we're gonna do the blue side. So here we got lucky and we already have the middle bar solved. If you don't, you just insert each edge on either side, just like normal, and then you move on to the outer bars. So if there's pieces already in here, you can rotate them up, over, and then down. So now, like this piece, you can rotate it over here so that when we bring the right side up, it'll match it. And then we could just bring it down and then insert it, but we can just skip a move and just put it down. When we realign the red, it realigns the blue too. So just do the same thing for the second bar and I'll show you how to insert it. So when you have the last blue bar, what you want to do is you want to position it like this, so then the open spot is on the left that we need to be solved. So we can bring this unsolved place, this random colors on the left up, turn that blue over, and then we can bring that blue down with the red. So now we have the red and blue solved in addition to the white and yellow. So now that you only have the orange and green, you're on the last two centers. These can be the most challenging, so just be sure to take your time and remember the steps that you did in the previous centers. So it's the exact same for the orange. You want to see where the edges are. You might already have the middle bar solved. In this case, I do not. So like this piece, we know we can bring it down, rotate it out of the way, so we can bring these pieces back up. So that solved the middle orange. And now it's a bit tricky because we can't rotate down without bringing the red up. So we have to rotate up. So in this case, we have these two pieces in this corner that we can bring up, put into place, and then bring down. So that solved two of them. So once you get to the very last orange bar, the easiest way to do it is to find the orange edge that's left, put it on the top, so like the farthest away from you. Move this, if it's not already in the face, if it is, just go on to the next step. If it's not, you want to put it in this top place. You want to move the right up, turn the top side clockwise, and then move the right down. So now it's in the middle there. So now what we're going to do is called a commutator. A commutator is a little algorithm that will insert each of these separately. So the way the commutator works is it's going to solve this top corner piece. If you only have one corner piece that needs to be solved, just rotate it to this top right position on the orange. And then also you want to position this face so that the orange is on the top right. So this is the way the commutator is going to work. You're going to turn the left 3 layers up. You're going to turn the top side counterclockwise. Turn the left 2 layers down. The top layer clockwise. Turn the right 2 layers up. Turn the top side counterclockwise. And then turn the left 2 layers up. So that solved one of the corners. So then we would just go ahead and repeat that for the last one. All right, so after we get all of these 6 centers done, next we move on to the edges. So there are 12 edges that we need to solve, and we need to start with the white face facing up. So it's the top side. It'll be easiest to start with the white edges. So like we see right here, we have the white and green edges. We have 2 of them. Each edge consists of 3 different pieces. So we have the top and then the bottom layers, and then we have like this middle layer. This middle layer is what I'm going to call the pairing layer. So this is where we pair all the edges, and we're going to be slicing them over and pairing the edges. Then once we get them paired, we're going to store them onto the top layer. Once the top layer is full, then we flip it over and then store it on the bottom layer. So to start, we would look for a white edge on the pairing layer. So in this case, we have 2 edges right here. We could ignore this white and blue one right now. So we see these 2, and we look around the cube for the last one, which is right here, this white and green. So what we want to do is we want to insert this edge onto the pairing layer so that it's directly opposite the edge we want to solve. So in this case, we would rotate it like this, rotate the left side up, turn the top side clockwise, turn the left side down, so that it's in the pairing layer now. And then now we look on the front face. If the front sticker of the edge is opposite, or like the other color than the other edge, you know that you've positioned it right. So what I mean by that is, if we have both of the edges on the pairing layer, but the front colors are both the same, then we can't switch it over and pair them up. So when we have them right across from each other, now we would just rotate it over to pair them up. Then we would insert it onto the top layer. So you move the right side up, and then you'd turn the top layer to bring random edges, so unsolved ones, into that spot on the right, and then just bring it down, and you would just realign the center on the pairing layer. So we would continue to do that for all 4 of the top edges. So in this case, we see this white and blue right across from this white and blue, and the front colors are opposite, so that we know when we bring this over, it's going to be correct. So now we would look around for the other edge, the other white and blue, and it's right here. So what we would do is we would insert it into this spot right here. And then these front colors are opposite, so we'd rotate it over. Once all 3 are paired up, we'd move the right side up, turn the top side to bring in random edges, and then put it back down, and then just realign the center. If you run into a situation where you have like these 2 pieces and then this one, but the front colors are the same, what you would have to do is you would have to flip this edge around so that you can move it over. So this requires the flipping algorithm. So the flipping algorithm, you have to position this right side edge, and then you do this algorithm. And that would flip the edge around so that now these 2 pieces are in opposite colors, so you can bring it over and pair it up. So if you run into a case like this where you have 2 edges paired up, they're the same color but they're kind of flipped, what you do is you hold it on the right side, then you would slice over, do the flipping algorithm, and then you would just slice back, and it'll flip those edges around. So continue to build the white edges until you have 1 left. Okay, so I have 3 of the white edges already solved on the top, and then I just paired up my last one. So now I have to make sure when I insert it that I insert it so that I bring these random edges down. So if the random edges are on the same right side as the solved one, that's not what we want. We want to move it out of the way, so when we bring this new solved one up, we can rotate the random edges over, and then rotate it down, and then just realign the centers. So now you have the 4 top edges solved, and you can flip the cube over to the yellow side being on top, and then solve the top 4 yellow edges. So once we have 3 of the edges solved on the yellow side, and then we have the last one off here, we do the same thing from the white, and we would insert it, bring this random edge over, and then down, realign the centers, and then you have 8 edges solved so far. So now that we have the top and bottom 4 edges solved. Now we are on the last 4 edges. So the only edges remaining are the ones without white or yellow on them, and they all 4 should be on the pairing layer. So what we want to do is we want to take one of the edges and we want to rotate it up, over, and down, so that we kind of insert one of these solved ones into the pairing layer. So now we have an extra random edges on the top. So now we can solve one of these remaining 3 edges. So like this piece, this blue and red, and this blue and red, we can slice this over, paired up. It's fine at this stage to only pair one piece at a time, because it's a little bit tricky. So once we pair one of these, then we would insert these random pieces up. So move it up, move it over, and then insert it down. Now when we insert, or when we realign the centers, it'll realign the solved one so that it doesn't get messed up. So when we have one of the last 4 edges on the top, we can insert them. So we need this last orange and blue. So we see it right here. So we can insert it in to the spot like this, so that now we can bring it over. We want to make sure we have random pieces at the top. If we don't, we can just insert them onto the top. So we bring this over, and then just insert the random pieces, and then bring it over. So now we have an extra one solved, and we only have 3 left. So we can do the same thing for this. So in order to solve this one, this white, this red and blue, we need the red and blue edge right here, but it's down here. So what we can do is we can use the flipping algorithm to flip it around to this top layer where we can put it over. So we would use the flipping algorithm. So now these front colors are opposites, and we can, well, we have them lined up, but we do not have any random edges on top. So we take this one that we're not using, insert it to the top layer. So now we can insert this last edge and then put it with the random edges. So now that we're on the last 2 edges, this is where it can get kind of tricky. So you can flip the cube around to whichever way is easiest for you. If you see a case where these 2 pieces are matched up but they're flipped, you can rotate this last edge to where it's the same color as the top one, or opposites from the middle one. So what you can do is you can rotate it over so that it's kind of solved right there. Do the flipping algorithm. And then just rotate the center back. So that inserted and flipped that piece and solved all those 3 pieces in one move. So by doing that, you could have solved your last edge, or it could be the 3 pieces are paired up but they're flipped, and I'll get to this in a second, but I'll show a couple more cases for the edges. When you have your last 2 edges, and if they're all matched up but they're both flipped, there's a little shortcut that you can do. So you can rotate, like when they're both in the front, you'd rotate it to the right, turn the middle layer like this, and then do the flipping algorithm. And then just move that center back, and that'll solve both of those edges. If on your last two edges you have no pieces that are flipped around, like what I just showed you, in a case similar to this, what you would have to do is you would have to rotate like this one over, so it would kind of break apart those two pieces. You do the flipping algorithm, and that would solve this edge, but then you would be left with parity on this edge. If you have a case similar to this where there are no two pieces matched up, all you would have to do is pick one of the pieces. So this one, we can rotate it over, do the flipping algorithm, and then flip it back so that now these two pieces are solved, and then you can go from there. Alright, now that I've showed you those extra cases, I'll finally get to this case. This case is called parity. So you have every other edge solved on the cube except one. The center edge is flipped. So the algorithm to solve this is pretty long, but I would recommend to screenshot it or write it down and practice it a lot. So do the algorithm with me, and then try and do it from your notes, and then try and do it without looking at your notes. So the way we solve parity is we put it in this position, so like the top front, it'd be right here. So the algorithm, I'll put it on the screen and I'll show it to you so you can follow along. So you would turn the right two layers up, top layer 2 times. You would rotate the entire cube forward. Then you turn the right 2 layers up, top layer twice, right 2 layers up, top layer twice. You turn the right 3 layers down, turn the top side twice, turn the left 2 layers down, turn the top layer twice, turn the right 2 layers down, top layer twice, right 2 layers up, top side twice, right 2 layers down, top twice, and then the right 2 layers down. So that solved the parity and finished up the edges. So now that you have the 6 centers and all of the edges solved, now is called the 3x3 stage. This is where your knowledge of how to solve a regular 3x3 Rubik's Cube kicks in, because now you can solve it exactly like a 3x3. So what I mean is, now we have reduced, notice the reduction method, we have reduced the centers so that now, like this entire green is the green center on the 3x3, the white center, red, and so on. And then also the edges, so this red and blue is equivalent to this red and blue. It just looks a little bigger. So we would only turn the outer layers of the 5x5 and we would solve it exactly like a 3x3. And you can use whichever method if you know more advanced methods. If you know the beginner's method for a 3x3, it doesn't matter. Just solve it exactly like you do. So these corners are the same as the corners on the 3x3. So now the last layer can be a little bit difficult to visualize. So this case on the 5x5 is the exact same as this case on the 3x3. So to get the yellow cross, you would have these 2 edges. So like the backwards L case. So you could solve like that. And then you just solve the OLO. Then you would just solve the rest of the cube, so the last layer is the PLL stage. So you'd solve the corners, and then you'd solve the edges. So there you go. Now you have solved your 5x5 for the first time. If you enjoyed this video, if it helped you, if you solved your 5x5 for the first time with my help, be sure to leave a comment down below letting me know. Leave a like if you were able to solve your 5x5. Check out my other videos on my channel and consider subscribing for more content. And as always, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.